Have you ever been sitting right in your own living room, completely safe? Maybe just watching a movie or, I don't know, drinking a cup of coffee, and suddenly you get hit with this incredibly deep, almost aching urge to just go home.
Oh, yeah. It's a surprisingly common phenomenon, actually. People describe it as this profound sense of homesickness for a place they can't even picture, let alone find on a map.
Right. Even though you are literally sitting in your house, you have this hollow, untethered feeling of such a specific, haunting feeling.
It really is, and it can be super unsettling if you don't have a framework for it.
Exactly. Well, today our mission on this deep dive is to explore a framework that actually offers an explanation for that exact feeling. We're looking at a wildly fascinating lecture by the late hypnotherapist Dolores Cannon titled The Earth School, Missions and the Three Waves of Volunteers.
Yeah, and this is some massive mind-expanding material. It's essentially a unified theory of spiritual cosmology.
It is. We're going to unpack her expansive framework, which she drew from literally thousands of past life regression therapy sessions with her clients. We'll guide you through her concepts of where we originally come from, why daily life on Earth feels so uniquely difficult, and what the source material claims is an actual cosmic rescue mission currently underway.
And what makes it so intriguing is that it's built entirely from consistent overlapping stories. Thousands of different clients reported the exact same things when placed in deep trance states, completely independent of one another.
Okay, let's unpack this, because I know some of you listening might naturally be a bit skeptical of a regression therapy or, expansive spiritual cosmology. But regardless of your personal beliefs, this material offers a brilliantly compelling lens for looking at our daily struggles.
Oh, absolutely. It radically reframes our sense of purpose. It introduces the idea that life isn't just happening to us, it's a script we wrote ourselves.
Right. But to understand why we are here on Earth dealing with all this stress, we have to establish where the framework says we originally came from. And it really challenges everything we usually think about a creator.
It completely flips the script. According to the transcripts of these sessions, everyone began at the exact same place, with God, or what the subjects frequently refer to as the source.
And the way this source is described is remarkably devoid of human traits, right? I mean, the very first thing the transcripts emphasize is that we have to drop the human concept of gender entirely.
Yes, exactly. The source is definitely not an old man with a beard sitting on a cloud. It's not male. And even though the material notes that women represent the creative force in human biology, the source isn't female either.
So gender is just a biological mechanism that doesn't apply here at all.
Right, it's irrelevant. Instead, clients uniformly describe the source as a massive, overwhelming energy force, like a brilliant, bright light. Many describe the feeling of being inside a sun, but a sun that doesn't burn. Yeah, they call it the Great Central Sun, and it is composed entirely of total, unconditional love. And not love as an emotion, but love as a literal frequency.
And the subjects who experience this state in regression, they never want to wake up. They feel this profound togetherness, this ultimate blinding beauty. There's actually a really telling anecdote in the lecture about a client who asked her spiritual guides for just a taste of home.
Oh, that story is wild.
Yeah, she wanted to know what the source was really like on a conscious level. But the response from the guides in that story is very revealing about the mechanics of this cosmology.
They explicitly refused to show her the full picture, didn't they?
Exactly. They only allowed her a tiny, fleeting glimpse. The reason they gave was that the human nervous system and the human mind simply cannot comprehend the enormous reality of the source.
Right, because if they showed a human the true totality of that beauty and love, the person would absolutely refuse to remain in their physical body. The contrast would just be too painful.
The material suggests that human belief in God, even the absolute most devoted, lifelong belief, is like a tiny, fragile thread compared to the sheer magnitude of what the source actually is. It's described as the literal glue holding the entire universe together.
Meaning if that frequency were to wink out for even a fraction of a second, the atomic structure of everything would instantly disintegrate.
What's fascinating here is how this entirely reframes our core identity. If the source is this massive, unified central sun, the obvious question is, how did we end up separated from it?
Well, the framework explains that the source possessed an innate curiosity. It wanted to learn, to experience, and to understand itself from different vantage points.
So this desire to know resulted in what you could think of as a spiritual Big Bang.
An explosion of consciousness, yeah. Tiny sparks of light flying out in every conceivable direction, and the material says some of those sparks grew to become galaxies, some became entire universes, and many of them became individual souls.
Which means, at your very core, your spirit is quite literally just a tiny spark of light from that central fire.
Right. So you aren't a human body that happens to contain a soul. You are a spark of light that is currently wearing a biological costume.
A biological costume. I love that.
The human body is just a suit of clothes you put on specifically to interact with this particular physical environment.
So according to this, we are basically like deep-sea explorers putting on a heavy, restrictive diving suit, which is our physical bodies, to explore a very specific, high-pressure environment.
The mechanics of that analogy map perfectly to what the subjects describe. If you are a deep-sea explorer, the bulky, heavy diving suit isn't who you are.
Right.
But if you want to walk around on the dense, crushing ocean floor, you have to wear it. Otherwise, you simply couldn't survive the environment to gather the data you came for.
Okay, hold on. That analogy makes sense for the body, but what about the ocean floor itself? If we are these perfect sparks of light, connected to ultimate love, why leave the source to put on the heavy suit in the first place?
Well, according to the lecture, the ultimate directive from the source was to go learn everything. The mission was to learn everything, have every possible experience, both light and dark, and then bring all that data back to be downloaded into the gigantic computer of the source.
But to do that, you need a place to learn. And here is where the framework fundamentally challenges our perception of reality. It asserts that the physical universe, the environment we are interacting with, is completely constructed out of energy.
Therefore, it is an illusion.
That is a massive concept to swallow. I mean, the lecture literally tells the audience that the room they are sitting in, the chairs, the building, none of it actually existed until they collectively decided to construct it out of energy.
Yeah, it's intense.
I have to play the skeptic for a second, though. How does the framework justify that leap? Because if I knock on my wooden desk right now, it feels extremely real. It doesn't feel like a collective illusion.
Well, it feels solid because your diving suit is calibrated to interact with the specific vibrational frequency of the desk. The framework argues that everything is just energy vibrating at different speeds.
So when consciousness collectively agrees on a frequency, it creates a consensus reality.
Exactly. You perceive the desk as solid because both you and the desk are vibrating at the dense, slow frequency of the physical world. And out of all the environments across the universe where sparks of light can travel to learn, Earth is universally recognized as the absolute hardest, densest, and heaviest school in existence.
Earth school. And apparently, sparks don't even really want to come here. The transcripts show souls saying they have way more fun on other planets, or they prefer staying on the spirit side where things aren't so incredibly heavy.
Oh, absolutely. Earth is the hardest class. But when they do choose to enroll in Earth school, there are rigid rules.
The foundational rule being that you cannot skip grades.
No shortcuts. None. You can't jump from kindergarten straight to a master's degree. You have to master the specific lessons of each level.
The lessons about power, loss, love, limitation.
Right. And if you fail a class, there is no cosmic principle waiting to punish you. The universe doesn't judge. The mechanism is just that you have to repeat the class.
And repeating the class means coming back, often over multiple lifetimes, dealing with the exact same people, just shuffling the roles around.
Exactly.
It's like saying, okay, we didn't figure out the dynamics of forgiveness this time. Next time around, I'll be the difficult parent, you be the rebellious child, and let's see if we can finally balance the equation.
Yes. This constant, relentless repetition of classes is what the framework calls the wheel of karma.
So karma isn't a penalty.
No, not at all. It's just the law of cause and effect playing out until the lesson is fully absorbed. The lecture even notes that the historical figure of Jesus didn't come to start a religion. His primary mission was simply to teach humanity the cheat code to get off this wheel of karma.
And that cheat code is unconditional love and forgiveness.
Exactly. The only way to break the cycle of repeating grades.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because if we are the ones who created this environment out of our own collective consciousness, and there is no angry God judging us, why would we make it so insanely difficult?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right. Why would any sane spark of light deliberately sign up to the heaviest class in the universe just to suffer through all this karma?
Because on the spirit side, stripped of the heavy diving suit, you remember your true nature. You are fearless. We act as the producer, the director, and the scriptwriter of our own stage play.
Oh, and the transcripts consistently show that Souls get incredibly, almost arrogantly ambitious before they incarnate.
They really do. They look at their karmic debt and say, I want to clear all of this at once.
Right. So they write a script for their next life and pile their plates completely full of difficult circumstances, extreme trauma, and challenging relationships.
It's like a college freshman signing up for 5 advanced calculus and physics classes at 8 a.m. because they feel super motivated in August, completely forgetting how exhausted they're going to be by mid-October.
That is exactly the dynamic. Even when their spiritual advisors warn them, saying, look at this life plan, are you sure this is going to be exceptionally difficult for you to handle? The soul insists.
They dive right into the dense Earth school, absolutely confident they can breeze through the lessons.
Only to arrive, put on the heavy suit, get totally caught up in the illusion, and forget how agonizing the human experience actually feels.
And then they fail the class and they get trapped on the wheel. And according to this cosmology, that is exactly what happened to humanity as a whole macro system.
Because Earth School is so uniquely dense and difficult, humanity collectively got stuck. We were just repeating the same violent, painful grades over and over on the wheel of karma. We weren't moving forward.
The evolution of the collective consciousness was stalling out. The sparks were totally trapped in their own illusion.
So if humanity is trapped in this loop, the system is essentially broken. How does a closed karmic loop fix itself?
It can't. It requires outside intervention.
Precisely. And this is where the core concept of the lecture comes in. To prevent the Earth project from failing and collapsing under its own heavy density, the universe had to send in outside help.
The material claims that the universe actually tried to intervene 3 separate times throughout history, but the interventions failed.
They just couldn't reach critical mass to change the frequency.
Right. So in modern times, a massive cosmic call for help went out across the universe. And hundreds of thousands of pure soul sparks who had never been trapped in an Earth body before volunteered to drop in.
Their mission is simply to tip the scales and help shift the planet's energy.
These are the 3 waves of volunteers. Because they have never been on the wheel of karma, they aren't here to learn the basic lessons. They are sent here purely on a rescue mission.
So what does this all mean? Let's break down the mechanics of these 3 ways, because the psychological profiles described in the lecture are incredibly specific. The first wave of volunteers were generally born post-World War II, spanning from the late 1930s through the 1960s.
The framework calls them the pioneers and the wayshowers.
But being a pioneer in a dense jungle is brutal, exhausting work.
Oh, absolutely. Because these first wave souls had never experienced the heavy density of Earth before, they found the environment utterly horrifying.
The material notes they are fundamentally terrified of strong, aggressive emotions and violence. They look at human behavior and simply cannot comprehend why people hurt each other.
They're the ones who constantly carry that intense homesickness we talked about at the very beginning of this deep dive.
Right, they walk around feeling this deep alienation, constantly thinking, I want to go home. I don't know where home is, but I know for a fact it isn't here.
And tragically, because the shock of the density is so overwhelming, the first wave has very high rates of severe depression and attempting suicide. They just want to take the diving suit off and leave.
They bore the absolute brunt of the energetic shock to hack through the karmic brush and clear the path for the second wave.
Yes. And the second wave volunteers are generally younger, currently in their 20s, 30s, and some in their 40s. Their operational role is entirely different. They aren't the pioneers.
The lecture describes them as antennas, generators, and channelers of pure energy. And the fascinating thing is, they don't even have to do anything actively.
No, the transcripts suggest a second wave volunteer can literally walk through a crowded shopping mall, and just by walking past people, their internal frequency alters the energy of the crowd.
They are here to act as localized broadcasting stations for a higher vibration.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, it creates a profound behavioral paradox for the second wave. They are specifically placed on Earth to spread energy to the masses, but they intensely dislike being around people.
Yeah, they vastly prefer to be completely alone, they thrive working from home, and they actively avoid large crowds. That seems counterproductive, right?
It does seem that way at first.
If your job is to help the crowd, why hide from the crowd?
Well, if you think about the mechanics of an antenna, it makes perfect sense. If an antenna is constantly bombarded by heavy, chaotic static, it struggles to broadcast its clear signal.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, these volunteers don't want to absorb the heavy karmic energy of the people they're supposed to be helping. Furthermore, the material notes that many second-wave volunteers subconsciously choose not to marry or have children.
They do this specifically to avoid creating any deep, entangled karmic ties that might trap them on Earth after their mission is done, right?
Exactly. They come in with an energetic sheath covering their soul, so the local karma literally bounces off them. They just want to stand in the clearing, broadcast the signal, and go home.
They are completely insulated by design. And then finally, we have the third wave. These are the new children being born right now.
The lecture asserts that their DNA is already altered and advanced. They are the gift to the world.
They are already naturally vibrating at the exact frequency the rest of the planet is struggling to reach. Meanwhile, the framework bluntly suggests that older, entrenched energies people who simply cannot adapt to this shifting, speeding frequency will naturally transition out of the Earth school.
So they won't stick around.
Right. So if I'm trying to visualize the mechanics of this rescue mission for you listening, it sounds like the first wave are the heavy-duty snowplows. They take the massive, violent impact to clear a brutal, icy path.
That's a great analogy.
Thanks. And the second wave are the radio towers, quietly standing in the fight, clearing the plows made, just broadcasting a brand new, higher frequency station. And the third wave are the high-tech, next-gen devices that come out of the box, already perfectly tuned to that new station.
That is a highly accurate way to conceptualize the mechanics. Each wave is performing a highly specialized, necessary function to artificially elevate the collective frequency of the Earth school environment.
Okay, so we've covered this massive, mind-bending cosmic theory sparks of light shattering from the source, the heavy diving suits of Earth school, the repeating loop of karma, and this multi-generational rescue mission of volunteers.
It's a lot to take in.
It really is. But let's bring this all the way back down to Earth, to your daily life. How do you, the person lifting right now, actually apply this knowledge of your spark and your potential contract to your life today?
Well, the material is very pragmatic about application. First and foremost, before you can fulfill whatever specialized contract or mission you came here to do, whether you are a volunteer or just working through your own curriculum, you have to clean house.
You must consciously get rid of the old junk, garbage, and baggage that you were carrying around.
Exactly. You have to process your own trauma. You can't broadcast a clear signal if your antenna is covered in mud.
And why is that so crucial? Because the clients in these sessions were explicitly told that when you finally clear that emotional baggage, you can find your true passion.
Yes. And the framework makes a massive claim here. When you do what you are truly supposed to do, when you align with your original soul contract, you don't get sick, and your body doesn't age in the same destructive way.
The physiological implication there is profound. It suggests that chronic physical sickness and deep exhaustion often stem directly from fighting your own true purpose.
The physical body is literally breaking down because it is rejecting a life path that the soul never agreed to in the first place.
Think about your own life right now. Are you feeling constantly, inexplicably exhausted? Are you dealing with chronic stress or a sickness you can't seem to shake?
Could it be because you are forcing yourself to play a role in your career, in your relationships, that isn't actually in your soul's script?
This raises an important question regarding our personal agency. How do we differentiate between the essential, difficult lessons we deliberately contracted to learn in Earth School and the unnecessary garbage we're just stubbornly clinging to out of habit?
Well, the framework is very clear that you can't just quit when it gets tough. The lecture explicitly warns against trying to check out early to avoid the hard parts.
Yeah, when discussing those first-wave volunteers who are so overwhelmed they want to end their lives, the warning is stark. Because of the strict mechanical law of karma, if you quit the school early, you do not escape the lesson.
No, you simply drop the body, realize your mistake on the spirit side, and have to come right back to do the exact same difficult curriculum all over again from the very beginning.
You cannot cheat the curriculum. You have to pass the class.
But, and this is arguably the most empowering concept in the entire cosmology, you are not a helpless victim to the curriculum either. Remember the core premise. You are the producer, the director, and the active scriptwriter of your own stage play.
Yes. The material insists that the script is being written dynamically as it goes along. You have absolute power over the narrative.
If you are looking around at your life right now and you do not like the scene you are currently playing out, you can change it. At any time. You hold the pen.
It requires a delicate psychological balance, though. You have to accept that you are currently enrolled in a rigorous, intentionally challenging educational environment, while simultaneously remembering that you are the one who designed the course.
The illusion only has power over you if you forget that you are the one projecting it. You have the ultimate authority to alter how you respond to the lessons.
It is such an incredible, expansive journey we've mapped out today. We started as a tiny spark of pure consciousness, bursting outward from an unimaginable source of frequency and love, driven by pure curiosity to learn.
And we chose to don these heavy, restrictive biological costumes to enter the ultimate masterclass, the dense, difficult illusion of Earth's school.
We explored the mechanics of how humanity became trapped in repeating those painful classes on the wheel of karma, which prompted a vast, multi-generational rescue mission of volunteers to manually shift the energetic frequency of the entire planet.
It completely reframes how you look at the difficult people in your life, the intense struggles you face, and even those quiet, isolating moments where you just want to hide from the world.
The framework suggests it is all by design. None of it is a punishment. The heavy suit is just doing its job.
Ultimately, whether you view this material as literal cosmic truth or simply a profound psychological metaphor for the human condition, it challenges us to drop our emotional baggage and step entirely into our own power as the conscious creators of our reality.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to mull over today. The lecture insists that everything around us, even the physical room you're sitting in right now listening to this, is an illusion generated by collective energy.
If that is true, and you are the active scriptwriter of your own stage play, well, what happens if you consciously decide to change your character's motivation today?
If you literally hold the pen to the illusion, what is the very next line of dialogue you're going to write for yourself?